The last conversation I ever had with my dad, one-on-one, he was asking me about where things were at, and he asked me if I was writing my music yet, and I said no. And I could tell that he didn't have a lot of strength left at this point, but I could tell he had sort of a humph reaction. And I asked him, what's that reaction? And he said, I think you should start writing your music. And I said, why is that? And he said, because I don't think you should wait for perfect. And I felt something just crack in me when he shared that. And once again, despite my mind's reasons why it wasn't a good time yet, the next day I had this peace just felt like bursting out of me. And, one of the reasons I felt like the saxophone made no sense is that I always told myself I never write saxophone music. I've never written saxophone music. I don't hear music for saxophone. Why would I learn an instrument that doesn't have anything to do with my music? Whatever that's going to be. This piece starts bursting and I have the chords and it needs a melody, and I'm like, well, once again, what am I going to have play the melody? That's something I don't play. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll try it on the saxophone. And I came to discover that the saxophone was the voice that piece needed. And what then that led to is me discovering that the saxophone was the missing voice for the music that I was going to be writing. And so all of a sudden, the last 4 years suddenly come into some sort of focus. Like, no, this wasn't a waste of time. This was actually me being guided and being led just through my heart, having feelings that were leading me to the voice that I didn't realize I was even missing. So one of my favorite definitions of the word grace is a gift that hasn't been earned. And so I called this piece Grace because I just am so struck by the gift that I didn't earn, which is the guidance and the patience of Spirit of the universe, the heart, whatever word you want to use, God, and guiding me with this passion and this drive that seemed so antithetical to anything that I should be doing with my life. So here I am sort of kicking and screaming, and just that guidance just patiently holding me through every step of the way. Some of the steps were really difficult. And how I still feel like I earned that at all. And Richard Rohr talked about grace also being a humiliation to the ego. It doesn't feel good to the ego to need grace. But this idea that the grace is always available to us. And so now I'm very inspired by that word, and I feel its presence in my life every day. And this piece of music is meant to be a little piece of grace for you as well. It has been for me making it.